I guess, to why I started the group and sort of what I knew of Dale, and probably share some memories with you as well in terms of why you're associated with Dale. My association started like most kids in the late 70s. He was a superhero from Australia, out jumping the world's best, including Evel Knievel. I lived in a town in regional Victoria called Cobram, and every kid at school idolised Dale. For my 8th birthday, I got the Daredevil Dale stunt cycle. It was the best toy ever. Had it for years. Friends would come over, we'd be doing also jump-off competitions. I remember getting Dad's metho one day, not to drink it because I was too young, but to set the fire to the rings and jump Dale through it. And the stunt went really well. The rings didn't go so well; they were toast. So that was the last time Dale did that jump. But one of the best things I thought with Dale was his accessibility to fans. And Chantal mentioned it before, the number of shows they did. You didn't have to go down to the big smoke. There was a million miles away for me as a kid to go down to Melbourne from Cobram. But we just go down to the local aerodrome at Tokemore, and here he was, Dale, jumping over 15 Ford Falcons that had been kindly loaned by the local Ford dealership. So I bet you Dale wasn't the only one happy to make the jump that day. I remember the local newspaper ran the advertisement, and I saw it. I thought, we got to go to this. And so the build up to this was really exciting. I'd seen it in the papers for weeks. We went down there, Mum and Dad in the car. Here's Dale, popping monos up and down, right, just ripping along on the YZ250, and then doing the practice runs up to the ramp. And I was standing there against the fence with goosebumps, hoping he's going to make it. And then, just like any hero, he did. Effortlessly made the jump, much to the fans' delight, and of course the local Ford dealer, who no doubt breathed a sigh of relief he wasn't going to have that difficult conversation with head office on Monday. After the jump, I pleaded with Mum and Dad, please, we get in the queue for an autograph. I really want to see Dale. I wish I'd bought my stunt cycle to get it signed, but I didn't. So we queued for what seemed forever, in an ever long queue, and Mum and Dad said, look, let's go home, it's late. You'll see him next time, it's all right. Famous last words. Because there wasn't a next time, not for me, not for anyone. Not for the fans who were heading to the Royal Melbourne Show in 1981, who may be going there for the first time. So for me, back then, it was like, I guess in the 60s, people say to you, where were you when JFK got shot? For me, as a 9-year-old in 1981, it was, where were you when you found out that Dale had taken his life? I remember distinctly, I was in the backyard, and Mum had heard it on the radio, and she just leaned out the window, Jared, Dale Buggins is dead. I said, dead? What do you mean dead? Like, was it an accident? No. He committed suicide, and I didn't know anyone at that stage that had died, let alone anyone who committed suicide. It was a real shock to me, and I guess it was in the news for a while back then, and this is, I guess, one of the things about why it's stuck in people's memory is because it just was in the news for a few weeks, little snippets in the newspaper, the 2 channel stations we had, ABC and the local station, you'd hear it for a little while, and that was it. There was no internet. There was no way of finding out this. I couldn't talk to Chantal, right? I couldn't see Ken. It was all gone, right? So how would you know as a kid what to do? So I guess there's a mystery there as to why it happened, and I guess that's probably the impact it's had is the impact on everyone's life. So it puzzled me for years afterwards, and I always wondered why someone who was so good at what they were doing would take their own life. And what happened to Chantal? And what happened to Ken? What happened to Terry? What happened to all these people that were doing this great show? And it just sort of disappeared for me. So about 15 years ago, I was just happened to be searching, as I did every now and again on the internet, and came across the Cycle Jumpers webpage, which has got a profile for every jumper, and I found Dale's information on there. And thought I grabbed the logo from there, and I thought, oh, let's create a Facebook page for that. And then a friend of mine found a Triple J retrospective on YouTube, and I thought, well, there's a little bit of video footage, so we're finally starting to pull together little bits of information that didn't exist back in the 70s. And it was amazing. Like, I remember looking in there, within a few weeks, there was 100 members in there. And then today we've got nearly 1,000. So I guess the impact has been incredible. And I wouldn't have, as Chantal said, I wouldn't have started it or continued with it if it didn't have the support of the family. So I really appreciate Chantal at the time saying, yeah, go ahead. Even though early on it was still sensitive. Like, I didn't want to sort of be talking to her about Dale, or to talk to her as a friend, right? And trying to build that relationship and that trust. So it took some time. But I'm glad that we had that support early on, and Terry, and then probably more internet-connected daughter Kelly was involved in the web site as well, helping out and supporting things. And then I guess I was lucky enough to have found, I guess, enough people to sort of join and start to share information. Some amazing stuff come along, like the Mud, Sweat and Gears, which was a documentary, which I hope you've all seen, but like it was never released. And I spoke to Doug Stanley from Nomad Films, and he said he'd lost his original masters, so it was never published. So it was hidden away, and it turned up on DVD, which I think probably had come from Terry, and then that went to YouTube with permission from Nomad Films, and all of a sudden people could actually start to share some of this footage from back then. So incredible things that have happened just with being able to share information that just wasn't in the public domain back then. And another incredible bit of footage, someone digitised one of Chantal's and Dale's spectaculars, the show, and I remember Chantal saying that it was making her palm sweat just thinking about the safety and the nerves that were happening back then. So I guess my friendship did grow with Chantal, and then when Ken sadly passed away, I didn't actually get a chance to meet Ken. I wish I had, but I did come here. So this is my second visit to Palmdale, so I did come to Ken's funeral. And I met Jan and met Terry for the first time, and Kelly and Felicity and a few others. So that was great. And a few months after the funeral, Chantal finally and I, we managed to actually catch up for dinner one night, and it was a great. It was to take the sort of some of the, I guess, the group side of it away and really build that sort of true friendship. And we had a really good chat and a really good night that evening. And then not long after that, probably about a year later, I think, I saw on Facebook, again, Facebook being a great connector, that Chantal happened to be just a few hundred meters from my office. I said, come in, right? So we actually come in for lunch, and she wanders in the door with this lady, a blonde lady, a little bit younger, and she says, oh, this is Emma. I said, hang on a minute, this is not Emma, your sister. And what are the chances that she was in the area, and Emma was visiting from the UK, and I got not to meet one, but two Buggins sisters. So yeah, we had a great lunch and good catch up, and I think, yeah, it was good, wasn't it? It was a nice day. So yeah, like one thing I made sure from the outset is that the fan club is always about remembering Dale and the positive things, not about any of the sort of the controversy or blaming anyone for missing the signals. And we shut that down if anyone sort of got into that. And I think that's really helped build the trust up with the group and with the family support. And we really want to promote that mental health, right? So just some statistics I got from some of the organisations. Every day, 9 people in Australia take their life. It's double the road toll. There isn't anywhere near as much funding or awareness at reducing that toll. 75% of those statistics are men. Suicide is the leading cause of death from the ages of 15 to 44. I bet you not many people knew that. The number of attempted suicides is around 65,000 as an estimate. And in rural areas, the suicide rates are often double than the city dwellers. For every person who takes their own life, that impact is felt deeply, on average, for about 135 people, including family, friends, work colleagues, and the unfortunate first responders who had to attend the scene. The irony is that Dale had all the courage to travel the world, risking his life jumping over the world record number of cars, but he didn't have the courage to say he was not okay. Heroes are human too. Heroes have fears. Heroes have faults. They're just like you or me, with just a bit of extraordinary talent and dedication thrown in. The 70s was when men had to be tough and not cry. They were the family breadwinner, the sports star, the boss at the office, the problem solver. They didn't have weaknesses, they didn't ask for help. What if Dale had said, I'm not okay? I can't do this. I want to slow down. I need a break, Dad. I want to stop. Dale would be here today. I remember Jan saying that to me at Ken's funeral, and saying what a great career Dale had. And she said, Dale should be here today, seeing away his father. But he's not. Right? He could be telling his own stories about all the jumps he did, the records he broke, and why he quit when he was ahead. Dale touched so many lives, and in preparing for this event, a number of people from around the world reached out to share their memories of Dale. Chris Bromham, who you may know, like Dale, was born in Wales. Chris wrote to me from his home in England. He says, I started my career in 1976 with the intention of beating Evel Knievel and Eddie Kidd, which I'm proud to say I did. I achieved in my 21-year career. I can remember watching Dale jumping against other jumpers on an American TV show. I thought that he was brilliant and one of my inspirations. I remember dreaming of the day when I would become a world champion, and I achieved this when I jumped over 18 double-decker buses in 1983. I can't believe that was nearly 40 years ago, and that obstacle record has never been beaten. I then went on to achieve 4 obstacle records and 2 world distance records. Fantastic times. Although I never got to meet Dale, I once served a relative of his who worked in a motorcycle shop in Derbyshire in England. That would have been about 1989. In those days, there were just a handful of motorbike jumpers in the world. I didn't realise it then, but you could say that we're a rare breed, pioneers of the sport. I was very sad when I heard of Dale's passing. He definitely earned his place in the history of motorcycle jumping. I wish I'd had the chance to meet him and possibly got a jump off, but sadly that was not to be. God bless you, Dale, for your contribution to motorcycle jumping and for being a great inspiration to myself and other jumpers around the world. A local, Johnny Fogwell, also known as Johnny Wonder, was a motorcycle stuntman in the 70s and 80s, and Johnny now lives in Queensland and is a musical entertainer doing country and western. He says, I first heard of Dale in 1979. I was happily doing my stunt show around the agricultural shows, jumping 16 to 18 cars ramp to ground. Then one night in Tally, there's this young fella from New South Wales, he's jumped 25 cars. That was Dale. I had to up my game or give up. So I went out harder. Got the distance okay, and I was ready to jump 26 cars. Then the news showed a Robin Winter-Smith from England jumped over 31 cars. I was shocked. Shit, now I had to get serious. I did, and I was ready to do the 32 car jump, and sadly Robin was killed attempting 32. He was very capable of doing 32, he just misjudged his speed. It can happen to any of us. So I set up a jump at 32 cars, live for a TV show, and got it done okay. Dale sent me a telegram wishing me all the best. No internet back then. Anyway, Dale and I met up in Sydney not long after. He and Ken, his dad, to chat about a jump-off competition. They were really great people. As it happened, Dale was going to go to the USA to take on the very talented Gary Wells. Brilliant stuff. Dale won the first one. Then Dale's takeoff ramp broke as he was leading the comp and he came off. Gary cleared it and he won that one. So the Americans who were promoting this event came to Australia for the third comp at Calder Raceway in Melbourne. But Dale pulled out. Not because he couldn't do the distances, something else was happening. Dale, sadly as we know, didn't make it. I stood in for Dale at Calder and the rest is history, I guess. I, along with a lot of folks, went to Dale's funeral. Bloody sad for his beautiful family. Not long after, Ken, Dale's dad, asked if I would buy Dale's equipment, as in the high wire bikes and equipment and some other gear. I was honoured to have it. I always mentioned to the crowds how I got to be doing this in my act. I performed with it around Australia and New Zealand for over 18 years. Life can be tough at times for all of us. And the fact that people like Dale and his lovely family gave so much passion and love out in living Dale's dream is truly special, forever remembered. Now from the US, Doug Danger. I never met Dale personally, but I watched him on TV when he did the jump-offs with Gary Wells. Dale seemed like a nice person and a great jumper. I was deeply saddened when I heard of his death. I was young at the time and I learned so much by all the jumpers before me. I watched their successes and failures and I learned the things I needed to fly farther and farther by watching. I also learned from terrible tragedy. Bob Gill, a local jumper, was paralysed. Robin Winter-Smith was killed and Dale Buggins took his own life. We heard it here in the States and a lot of pressure was put on him and he was experiencing depression. Bob and Robin brought the reality of danger to our business. Dale brought another reality to us, that it was not a known danger, how bad depression could be. At a young age, I didn't understand how anyone could take their life with such a great talent and future as Dale had. I've since learned the pressure of being on top and actually looking forward to it being over. I wish Dale could have found a better way to overcome the issues he was dealing with. He's badly missed around the world. I will say a prayer for my hero Dale, and I hope to get to meet him in heaven one day. If anyone ever hits a point where they want to take their own life, please talk to somebody until somebody helps. Once you've taken your own life, you can't turn back. It's over. Life can be awesome with help. Please ask for help. Remember, life can and will get better with time. So Doug mentioned Gary Wells, and one of the interesting things about being in this group has been the connection to people I would never have been connected to. And I did reach out to Gary on his website about 10 years ago and asked for him to be involved somehow in the group. I get this phone call out of the blue from Phoenix, Arizona. It's Gary Wells, and we chatted for 45 minutes. I'm just a fan of stunts, and here I am talking to a guy who practically lost his life almost at Caesar's Palace, and he's ringing me up to have a chat about his memories of Dale. Unbelievable. Gary left home when he was 15. He had a fight with his father who was suffering from alcoholism, and he was on the road. He had to lie about his age so he could race speedway and jump bikes. In fact, State of New York Child Protection stopped him from jumping at one event because they found out he was too young. He said that he became good friends with Dale. They were both about the same age. They were travelling the world doing crazy stunts. But he could tell things were not right with Dale, and he could draw some parallels with his own life and the feelings of loneliness. Gary said Dale's life was very sad and he died for nothing. It was not right, and he was very upset about it and hasn't been able to talk about it to anyone since. Gary later reconciled with his father, who died in Gary's arms from alcohol-induced illnesses. Gary sadly himself passed away in 2020, so I'm honoured to have had the chance to talk to Gary because he was a legend. Someone who was at the event was a guy called Carl Herring, who joined the group early on and shared some amazing photos. He says, "I met Dale in 1980 in Phoenix, Arizona when he was jumping against Gary Wells. I talked to him just after he crashed. I told him I'd filmed all the jumps that he did that day, and he was very friendly. So down to earth. He didn't act like he was a big star, even though he was one of the biggest stars. And now he's an even bigger star, one of the biggest in the sky. God bless you, Dale, and your family." There are 3 songs we're going to play now. As I mentioned, Los Ragas and Perry Keys are 2 bands that are played, and then Troy is kindly going to play his guitar. So a little bit of a bio on Los Ragas. They were formed in 2013. They played all over Australia, from clubs to festivals such as Port Fairy and Riverboats, and a place called Out on the Weekend in 2019. They're lauded as one of the best and most exciting live acts in the country today. They're a unique blend of finely crafted songs with sonic exploration that jumps the fence and invites you to want to run away with it. Rock, country, psychedelic, call it what you will. Shane Riley, who is on the guitars, wrote to me and provided this tribute. "Hello fans and friends of the great Dale Buggins. My name is Shane Riley from the band Los Ragas and the writer of the Song for Dale, which was released in 2015 on our Transatlantic Highway album. Over the years, playing this song around Australia night after night, I've come into contact with many people who have relayed their admiration, respect and love for Dale to me, and each person has had their own story and personal connection to him and his legend. But he has passed into legend, yet for me, playing this song, reflecting on it, he returned to being Dale the man, an extraordinary and brave man, but with the same fears and questions as the rest of us mere mortals on the ground. I find this somehow comforting. I have 2 stories that stick in my mind, if you kindly allow. I was playing a show with another artist, not Los Ragas, that night in Melbourne, and a man in his 30s came up to me and said, "Hey mate, you wrote Song for Dale, yeah?" And I said, "Yeah." He told me he'd flown in from Adelaide that day and looked me up to tell me when Song for Dale was released, he played it so much that his little boy, about 5 or 6, had asked him what the song was. So they Googled Dale Buggins and watched all the existing clips. It started an obsession with this boy to want to jump things. It's been very small things on his little bike. So they built small ramps so he could jump over his toy cars and whatnot. I sensed this man wanted to thank me for enabling this moment between him and his little boy. A forever moment that will live in their memories as long as they're allowed. But it was Dale who gave him that gift, and he also lives in that dream. I didn't ask any more questions, but I sensed a deeper story, as it usually is. On another occasion, a young woman came to me and said she was listening to the song late one night in her kitchen, was overcome with emotion, and began to sob. She disconnected to the real meaning of the song. At that moment, she felt confused and alone. There was no way through or out of this feeling, but an emphatic voice in the message and Dale's song inspired her. The opening line is, "I don't want to die in this hotel, I want to fly so high." Dale flew so high and inspired us in many ways. It's impossible to convey why circumstances can lead to a person feeling so confused about life, but it's important to keep asking the questions so we can help each other through the low points. This is part of Dale's legacy, and on a personal level, it's helped me tremendously. I have so many memories of people telling me their stories of seeing Dale at shows and events when they were kids, and always through the broad smiles and with that much laughter, and always in awe of him and his achievements. Thanks to Jared for putting this memorial together, and Chantel for giving her blessing, and of course to Dale. May we all fly so high. Shane. Yes.